أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين
الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Amma ba'd. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created us and He has given us the honor of being Muslims. May the peace and blessings be upon the noblest of mankind, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and his family and the companions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with each and every one of us. May Allah bless our families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us happiness in this dunya. May Allah prosper us on the day of resurrection. Ameen. Our discussion last week was on parenthood from Islamic perspectives. We have discussed several points on this particular topic, and we know that it is a very important one that as parents we must all be aware of, because there are a lot of interests that lie in being successful as a parent. Before I go to discuss other points, we must know that parenting, being a parent, is different from being a father. Any mature male can father a child, but there is more to a parent than be a father. Allah doesn't want us to just be a father or a mother. Rather, Allah wants us to be a parent. What does it take to be a parent? It takes a lot of things. Allah wants us to be the ones to nurture and ensure that the next generations fit into the society and are successful both in this world and in the hereafter. We mentioned that a lot of interests lie. Being successful in parenting has a lot of interest in it. The personal interest, your personal interest as a parent because of your future. The interest of your clan, if you have a particular name that you think you need to protect. The interest of your family, interest of your community or your society, because every one of us is part of the society. Our success affects the society positively. Our failure as individuals too affects the society negatively. So there are Islamic interests too in parenting, because wherever you get to, and you say Islam is well established here, Islam is something that is abstract. It can only be concrete and significant through people who do what? People who practice Islam. People who practice Islam, that is when you can say Islam is well entrenched in any place. Now, the same thing, our society, our nation, those who are leading us, they are children of some people. If they are well raised, then they are a resource to us. If they are not well raised, then they become a curse. And we know what we can say about our leaders. And I think if we know that we know our belief about our leaders, whether they are righteous people or they are vicious and bad people, we know they were given birth to by some people. So if you don't want that situation to continue, that is, when we are having a bad leadership, then we need to really work on our children who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And another thing is, what are we meant to do in order to achieve the purposes of parenting as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would want us? The first thing we mentioned, I mentioned that the first point should be, we should be careful when we are selecting a spouse, because it's all, the journey begins here. Parenthood starts from the kind of parents, the kind of a spouse we actually have. So we should make sure that we are careful in selecting anyone to be our husband or our spouse. So this is a very important point, and we should not give these. We should not take this with levity. We should make sure that anyone we want to get married to, we make sure we examine that the person is actually fit to be the mother of our children or the father of our children, and someone that will be proud to have children from. Abul Aswad Ad-Dukli used to say to his children, I've been nice to you, I've been nice to you even before I gave birth to you. The children would say, oh dad, we know that you are a nice father. But to say that you have been nice to us even before you gave birth to us, we don't understand. He said, why I was nice to you even before I gave birth to you is because I choose for you a woman that nobody will insult you for, insult you. Nobody will insult you. A woman that nobody will insult you for. Nobody would condemn you. You would be like that. Something like that. I choose a righteous woman for you to be your father, to be your mother. This is one of the points we have to pay attention to. And since the Islamic interest also lies in parenthood, as we said, we should make sure that we marry Muslims. Not only Muslims, Muslims who are righteous, Muslims who are upright, so that we'll be able to preserve Islam in the next generation, in our family, and we should be able to entrench Islam wherever we are. The best thing for us is whenever we are living this world, ensure that Islam is far better than, our personal Islam, in our family, Islam is better. Another thing is we should make sure that we, as a couple, we live with each other in peace. Because when there is peace in the family, it will affect the mentality of our children. It will affect the mentality of our children positively. But if there is no peace, then these children will not have rest of mind. They will not see the beauty of marriage, and in the future, they will not be successful too in their marriages. So we need to be very careful in relating with one another. There is no successful parenting without successful coupling. So this is why, as couple, we have to see each other as friends and partners. Marriage is meant to be partnership and friendship, and marriage is also leadership. Leadership, the man is meant to be a leader in the family, and the woman should see her husband as a leader. No man would want to live with a woman who doesn't respect him. And women generally, you know what you want in marriage. You want love, you want attention, and you want care. You want love, you want attention, you want care. And anything that is worth having is worth paying price for. You can't get this from any man if you are not respectful to him. And if you are not respectful to him, there will not be peace or happiness in the home. If there's no peace, there's no happiness, that will affect the psychological makeup of your children as well. Oh, women, be obedient, be respectful to your husband, be submissive to them. That is an instruction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is what can assist you to be successful in your parenting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get us right and bless our homes. So that is another point we mentioned last week. Another point that we discussed last week is that you have to build yourself. Build yourself. When you begin to have children, you have to stop some habits. Anything you don't want to see in your children, please don't do it. Because whether you like it or not, your children are going to behave like you. Children are very bad at listening, but they are very good at imitating. Be what you want your children to be. If I pray for you that may your children be like you, do you think you will say Amen? Can you say Amen saying this prayer? That may your children be like you. Do you think you can say Amen? Look inwards. Do you think you want your children to be who you are? Or you want them to better? Or you don't even want them to be who you are? You know who you are. Anything you don't want your children, any person you don't want your children to be, you too, you have to make sure, ensure that you change your personality. It's possible. It's possible. Those bad habits you think you can't drop, you can actually drop them. It's possible. Improve on your characters. Be a righteous person of integrity, a person of respect, so that your children can learn this from you, and it will be very easy for them to be righteous people when they have righteous parents. Be righteous so that your children will also be righteous, and they will give you rest of mind today, tomorrow, and when you are no more. And it's going to be the best legacy you can leave for posterity. Be righteous and be upright. Another thing we mentioned is that you should observe from Islamic rituals on the newborn. We mentioned several of them, like giving your children good names, because names impact on the bearers. We talked extensively about this, and also shaving the head of the newborn on the seventh day. And part of, if I may mention here, that whenever you have a baby, it is the day you have the baby that the baby should have a name. It's not a taboo, or it's not something bad that you announce the name on that day, or the delay is not required, that you delay the name until the 7th day. So the Prophet ﷺ, in Sunnah, whenever a child was born, he would give him a name on that particular day. He himself, when he gave birth to his son Ibrahim, he announced to people the other day, and he told them that Allah blessed him with his son, and he has named him Ibrahim. So on the day he gave birth to the child, it's not the prerogative of the Afars or the scholars or the Malams to be the ones to announce the name of your child. You should be the one to do that. If you invite the Afars or the Malams on the 7th day, it is only to admonish people who have come to rejoice with you, to use the opportunity to admonish people. It's not their prerogative that they must be the one to announce the names. It's not written anywhere. If you like, you may not invite any Afar or whatever. If you don't invite them, you have not committed any sin. It's not written anywhere that it's Malams, scholars that should announce the name of your child. They are only meant to guide people when they gather to rejoice with you after, Akiko is really the animal you slaughter on the 7th day on behalf of the child. And the hair that is shaved, it has to be weighed. So on the value of a silver. So when you weigh it, you collect the hair. So if you ask a black goldsmith, so assuming this is silver, this weight, how much will it be its value in the country where you are? Nigerian, for example, use Naira. So how much does it cost? Assuming this is silver that weighs this. So you give that amount in charity. So you try to do this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who raised Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, definitely all the laws he has given him, all the rituals he has given us to observe, they have impact, positive impact in our life, whether we know them or not. Another thing is we emphasize our duties as parents, that we should know what our duties are, and we should know what our duties are in marriage, and to our children, and we should make sure that we do those duties for the sake of Allah. Do those duties, take them as primary assignments. But like I said last week, many people can do your job. If you are no more, people can still be employed where you are working now, but nobody can be a parent to your children. So you are the only one that can be a parent, a real and successful parents to your children. So have time for them. Let's take parenting as a full-time job. Don't abandon parenting to someone who cannot adequately take care of the children. You are the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask about these children, and their success and failure affects you and your name more than any other person. So take charge of this. And there are some women who may neglect their duties towards their children just because their husbands are not responsible. Remember, they are not only his children, they are also your children. Assuming your husband is no more, is late, are you not going to take care of these children? Their success is not part of your success. It's part of your success. This is why you should not think that just because the husband or the father of your children is not responsible, so you will not also be responsible. You will neglect the upbringing of your children. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Let us make sure we do these duties, and we should know that we are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through that. We should not forget that it's one of the reasons why Allah loves Luqman, that Allah mentions in the Quran, and the name of whom carried, is the title of a particular chapter in the Holy Quran. We mentioned that our duties as parents to our children are generally provision, protection, and guidance or direction, to provide for them, to protect them, and to guide them. These are our primary rules towards our children. Where we ended our discussion was on that guidance. We mentioned that for any education to be real education, it must include certain aspects. You have to focus on moral education of your children, spiritual education, and intellectual education. We don't want the children, the next generation to be moral dwarfs, those who are very intelligently sound, but when it comes to morals, they are nothing to write home about. These people, they are ruiners, they are destroyers of any nation, they are not builders. They are selfish, and they don't mind ruining the whole nation because of their selfish interest, as we can see in the world today. So education, a comprehensive education in Islam is tarbiyah. So tarbiyah should be a comprehensive education. So it has to cater to the moral needs and the intellectual needs and the spiritual needs of an individual. So moral education, spiritual education, intellectual education, let's pay attention to this. Any education that does not include these perfectly, that is not real education. And in our curriculum, in our schools, let us ensure that we work towards achieving these three areas of education: the morals, the spirituality, and the intellectual, non-intellectual education. And by intellectual education, I mean that we have to attend schools. And attending schools does not mean that we should just have certificates, because most of us, we only attended schools to have certificates, not to know. Most people don't know anything. This is why we hardly read whenever we leave schools, because we believe we read. One reads only when one is having exams. That is why we are who we are. We are backward because we don't read. Even the Quran that emphasizes all the times, Iqra, 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 how many of us read? So we need, how many of us read? So we have to always read. And the school enough cannot really serve us, because we can see that most of our graduates, our school leavers, they are economic liabilities on the society. They can hardly do anything with knowledge they acquire. They have to be retrained after school before they can be fit for any employment. So that is why we need to, anything that has to do with art and craft, ICT training, and any other thing we can be trained in, so that we can use our own hands to work. We can work with our own hand. We can employ others. We can do something with our own hands, our handiwork. Not only expecting someone to engage you or to employ you, whereby you are being overused to your detriment. You are being overused to your detriment. You are being paid something that you know is just a peanut. It doesn't reflect your value, and just because you don't find any other job. We need to pay attention on this. We need to help our children on this. We don't want people to become liabilities. It will lead to crime if we continue this way, because most of what we obtain as education in our schools is only to keep us busy. It's not relevant at all. It's not relevant. So let's pay attention to these three aspects of our duties towards our children. Another thing that we need in being successful as a parent is prayers. We need prayer. We need prayer. There are 10 things in our life that we can't achieve unless we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us those things. We need to really pray fervently to Allah to grant us. Look at in the Quran, Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam. So he had passed many years without any child until he asked Allah, Rabbi. He told Allah, Allah says, Isnada rabbahu ida'an khafiyya, qala rabbi inni wahana al-'azmu minni, واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا. He was asking Allah fervently to grant him a son, to grant him children, even though he had become advanced in age, he had become old. That is Surah to Maryam, the beginning of it. And Allah accepted his dua. Maybe if he had not asked, he only succumbed to faith that no, if Allah had willed that he was going to have children, he was going to have it, but he did not rely on this. And that's what you must understand about qadar. Qadar could be conditional and it may be absolute. It may be mu'allak and it may be mutlak. It's conditional, that is based on cause and effect. If you go to school, you'll be successful. If you don't go to school, you may not be successful. So if you pray, we have this. If you don't pray, you may not have it. If you work hard, you pass your exam, you may be successful in this or achieve this. If you do not work hard, you may not. So most things are based on cause and effect. The other one is mutlak. The qadar, that is mutlak, is absolute. No one can change it. You can only manage it. Like the kind of parents you have, you can't change them forever. You can only manage them if you think that there are things you may not like in them. And there are many things, even about your physics as well, the way you look, and many things yourself, maybe your height, you may be tall, you may be short, you may not be able to change many things because it's absolute. You can only manage it. And this is why things like that, they don't really count in the sight of Allah, but righteousness counts. So let us, we need to pray. So unless we pray, we may not get certain things in our life. Let's also ask Allah, who has granted us these children, to help us in raising them to become righteous people and successful people. We have many dua in the Quran. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the Surah As-Safat, that's Quran chapter 37, verse 100. Say, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Oh Allah, grant me righteous children. Oh Allah, grant me of the righteous. So when our wives are pregnant, or pregnant women too, there is a prayer for you. Salih means someone who is complete in creation, no deformity. No deformity. And also Salih means someone who is righteous. So it has to do with righteousness, and it has to do with the physical self of that person as well as the moral self of the baby. So that dua is very important. Quran 37, verse 100. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. We mentioned the dua of Ibadur Rahman last week, Quran 25, verse 74. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما. So the same thing, Maryam alayhi salam, in the Quran, Allah tells us about our dua too when he was praying to Allah. Rabbi, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam, rather, he was saying, Rabbi habli min ladunka dhurriyatan tayyiba innaka sami'ud du'a. Prophet Lut alayhi salatu wasalam, when the society became corrupt, became morally corrupt during this time, he used to say, Rabbi najjini wa ahli mimma ya'malun. That's Surah Ash-Shu'ara, right, chapter 27, verse 169. Rabbi najjini wa ahli mimma ya'malun. Oh Allah, save me and my family from the evils that people are perpetrating. From this moral decadence, oh Allah, save me and my family. So they were trying, yet they were praying. That is how it should be. So prayer should go with the hard work. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and guide us aright, and bless our children. And also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray for our children, because we need to place our children pray for them against spiritual attack as well. We know that Allah has created certain creatures that we may not see. So we need to pray place them under Allah's care, under Allah's protection through dua against the devils and the demons. So because these things are real, these creations are real. The Prophet ﷺ used to say to Hassan and Hussein, وَعِذُكُمَا بِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ التَّامَّةِ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْطَانٍ وَهَامَّةٍ وَمِنْ كُلِّ عَيْنٍ لَامَّةٍ. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to say, that is how Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ also used to say it for Ismail and Ishaq when they were young. So we should also learn to say this. So you place your hand, intermittently, maybe every day, every night, every day, you place your hand on your little child. If it is a male, it's a female, u'idhuki. So u'idhuki بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة أعيذك بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة. It's a powerful dua. Let's make sure we say it for our children. And the Prophet ﷺ also taught us to always be adhkar in the morning adhkar in the evening. For example, Bismillahi alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama' wa huwa sami'ul alim. 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. A'udhu bi kalimati Allah tammat min sharri ma khalaq. So 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. Qul huwallahu ahad, falak, and nas. So we have to read it once after every prayer. And if it's in the morning, 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. When we go to bed as well, let's teach our children to gather their hands and they read Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu bi falak, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas to the end and split into the hands and rub all parts of their body. They should do it the second time, they should do it the third time. It's a source of spiritual protection against supernatural powers. In Islam, let our children understand Tawheed, that we don't put our trust in any charm, in any voodoo, in any juju, in any herbalist or afar or any of the fortune future tellers. We must not place our hopes in them. We have to place our hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is in the control of everything. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. All right, so you can look at the Citadel. Citadel. So if you look at the book Citadel, you can find all this dua inside it, or the fortress. Hisnu al-Muslim. Hisnu al-Muslim. And you can also look for the book 90 Common Mistakes in Dua. 90 Common Mistakes in Dua. You will find many of these dua inside the book, inshallah. May Allah protect us and protect our children. Another thing that we need to do, so as a parent, is to maintain good ties with relations. We have to maintain good ties with relations. Many of us, we were raised not by our parents. By default, we were raised by our relations. If you are not nice to them, you too, you don't know how long you are going to live in this world. Maybe it's your uncle that will take the responsibility of your children. Your children may become orphans. I'm not praying, yes. Nobody prays for this, but we know we have orphans in society. And it doesn't belong only to the poor people, to the rich people. So you have orphans in the society. You don't know your own lot. You don't know your fate. This is why you should be good. It's good to be good. It's good to be good. Be nice, especially to your relations. You don't know what tomorrow holds. So if you are in charge of any child, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, take proper care of them. You don't know how they can be instrumental to your success or the success of your children tomorrow. Be good. Look at Prophet Musa in Surah Al-Shura, in Surah Al-Qasas. When he entered Madian, he ran into Madian as a fugitive. When he got there, he saw 2 women waiting. When people were fetching water, they were fetching water for their animals. 2 girls were standing aloof. Musa approached them. Why are you standing alone? So we cannot, we have men there and we don't have any power. So we have to wait until they go before we can do anything. And our father is an old man, he doesn't have any male child. Prophet Musa helped them. He watered their animals, and that is how these ladies were able to return. He didn't ask for any more. He just asked them out of humanity, out of his Islam. He did not know he was helping one of his wives. Because immediately when these girls, when they got home, their father was surprised. They used not to come this early. So they had come home earlier than before. They narrated everything. A man, he helped you, and he never knew you. Please, can you try to find him? That is how one of them was sent out to look for Prophet Musa where he was. And that is how Allah answered his prayer. So he was called, the man looked at him, what brought you here? So he narrated everything. You can stay with me, you can be helping me. After a while, one of the girls suggested to his father, why don't you employ him? You don't have any way to help you. Since he's here, and he's a righteous person the way we have observed. That man thought that no, this person should be a good person to be with us. So what I want to bring out from this is that Prophet Musa helped them. He did not know. Eventually, this man thought that Prophet Musa was a righteous person, and he is fixed to be his in-law. That is how one of the 2 ladies was married to Prophet Musa ﷺ. She was the one who had children for Prophet Musa ﷺ. When he returned to Egypt, she returned with this woman and her children. SubhanAllah. He never knew he was helping someone who would be helpful to him in his life. Help. Be good to anyone. Be indiscriminately good. Be good to everyone, especially your relations. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, "Man ahabba an yubsata lahu fi rizqi wa yunsa lahu fi athari falyasil rahima." Anyone who wants Allah to prolong his life, he wants Allah to expand his sustenance, his means of provision. It will be good to his parents, and it will be good to keep maintain ties of kinship. You have to be good to your parents and maintain ties of kinship. There is no way you can be successful, you can be happy with your children if your parents do not find happiness in you. If you are not good to your parents, your children will not be good to you. Whatever goes wrong comes round. So you should be only that if you want to find righteousness in your children, you want them to make you happy, you want to find a comfort in them, let your parents, if you have them, let them find comfort and happiness in you and maintain ties of kinship. Whether they are Muslims or not is immaterial. Be good to them. You will not join them only in the worship of other things besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another thing is some of us reciprocate when it comes to maintaining ties of kinship. They are good to me, I'll be good to them. They ask after me, I ask after them. They check on me, I check on them. This is not Islam. In Islam, you don't only reciprocate. When they are good to you, you must be good. When they are not good to you, you have to be good as well. You have to be good as well. That is what Islam teaches us. You don't only reciprocate. When it comes to maintaining ties with kinship, you don't only reciprocate. You must ask after them, you check on them whether they do or not. Why? You know what you want. You know the hadith. If you want to end well, good ending in this world, you want to find righteousness, happiness, comfort in your children, be good to your relations. So let's take note of this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with us. And before I forget, under prayer, please don't curse your children. Always pray for them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Thalathu da'awatin mustajabatun la shakka fihin." 3 prayers, they are always accepted. There is no doubt. And 3 curses are always accepted, no doubt. What are they? Da'watul walid, parents dua for their children, or curse. When you curse your children, the curse will fall on them. Some people, they have ruined the future of their children. Now they are going here and there, keep saying that, oh, I don't know who is working against his success, who's working against his luck. Maybe it is someone, you are the one. You always curse them. You say bad things to your children. You say bad things to your children. Even there are some people who curse their spouses. You know, they are the success of your spouse is your own success. Or a failure is also your failure, or the failure of your children. We should always pray. The Prophet ﷺ used to say, لا تدعوا على أنفسكم ولا تدعوا على أموالكم ولا تدعوا على أولادكم لا توافقوا من الله ساعة يسأل فيها عطاء فيستجيب لكم. Do not curse yourself. Don't curse your properties. Don't curse your children. Let your dua coincide with a time that prayer is answered, and that is how it will be answered. So please, let us be careful. Let us make sure we don't curse our children and we don't call them bad nicknames. We don't say bad things about them. Don't give them bad nicknames, even when you are only joking. So when you are joking, don't give them bad nicknames and don't call them bad names, and don't curse your children. The Prophet ﷺ told us a story of a man, even though he was very righteous, just because he was ignorant. His mother was calling him, even though he was doing nafila. His mother was calling him. She needed his attention. But this man did not answer the call of her mom. The mother later caused him because out of anger, and the cause fell on him. So he was accused of having committed adultery, which he never did. He was molested, he was embarrassed. Even the woman gave birth to a child and he attributed the child to this man, and he was a righteous person. It was ignorance that led him to that, and the cause of his mom. Because Islamically, when you are doing something, it is only voluntary. That is not better than the answering your mom. You are doing nafila, your mama, your mommy, your dad, your parents need your attention. You can stop it and answer them. If it's a compulsory prayer, you may continue. Just signify that you are praying. You say, Subhanallah, because the Prophet ﷺ taught us whenever we are engaged in prayer and our attention is needed, just say Subhanallah, so to let the person know that you are praying. But if it's nafila, if you know that your mom won't be patient with you, you can stop the nafila, answer her, and you can do your nafila later. Because answering her and attending to her needs or to his need, the father, is greater than that nafila you want to do. So this person did not understand this concept properly. He thought while engaged in prayer, he was doing something good, and his parents needs his attention. So the woman got angry, he cursed him. That is what led him to this false accusation and humiliation and embarrassment. But what escaped him is sincerity. When the child was attributed to him, he said, I did not father this. I didn't even know. I never met this woman. He said the woman will not be lying. He performed ablution. He did 2 rakats. He said, oh Allah, please let the truth be revealed today. This embarrassment. Let the truth be revealed today. Let people know the truth. Let the people know the truth. Surprisingly, the man went to this child and he tapped him. He said, oh boy, who is your father? That is how the baby spoke the day he was born. He spoke that no, this man was not his father. The father was a herdsman, a shepherd was his father. Everybody said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They told the man he was going to build his worship place build it in gold or silver. He said, no, leave it in mud as it was. He now mentioned, he said, the cause of his mother fell on him. So mothers, please, especially you, when you are angry, say certain things that can ruin the life of your children without repair. Be careful. Don't curse your husband. Don't curse your children. Don't curse your wife. Always pray. Even if you see that these children are not obedient to you, the solution is not cursing them. It's praying for them. Your prayer will be answered one day. Just be patient. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our children righteous. May Allah make us righteous parents as well. The next thing we have to do is community. Is community. As a parent, you need to be part of the community. Community service is very important in Islam. You must have something you are doing to your community. Maybe use your time to help in one way. Maybe your masjid. It will be anything in society. Look at Surah Al-Naml. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us a story of an ant who alerted the other ants that Sulaiman was coming with his host. He said, no, oh my people, the ant said, oh my fellow ants, this is Sulaiman approaching with his hosts of armies. They will crush you and they will never know that they have crushed anything. So go back into your dwellings. This is the only thing this ant did. And Allah preserves his mention in the Quran. Even though it was a miracle to Prophet Sulaiman because he was hard. He was able to hear what he heard, what these ants said to fellow ants for other ants. He heard. So he was happy. My Lord, so you have granted me this power, this honor. He thanked Allah for it. But another lesson is Allah preserved the mention of the hands. And the surah is Surah Al-Naml. Surah Al-Naml, referring to that particular hero, that particular ant who was an hero in the sight of Allah because of his community service. This announcement saved his people, saved his fellow ants from being crushed by Sulaiman. SubhanAllah. Anything, any service you render for the community or for the society or for the nation, you are great in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why if you are a leader and you are a righteous leader, a lot of people are going to benefit from your leadership. You are one of the awliyaullah. The same thing if you are a bad leader, a lot of people are going to suffer from your wickedness. You are among the a'da'ullah, one of the open enemies of Allah. So let us be good to others, especially in our community. In our community, you can't say you can do it on your own. You need cooperation with members of your community, in your estate, in your neighborhood. Good neighborliness is very important because your children will have friends from the neighbors. So if they are not good, what about what will happen to you? If you don't cooperate with them, definitely you won't achieve what you want in your children. So this is why it's even imperative for some people to migrate. You need to leave where you are and go elsewhere. Hijrah is not only from Mecca to Medina. Hijrah is a continuous religious duty whenever the needs arise. You may not have to live where we are now, or you may have to move elsewhere. Why? Not because the place is not suitable, but because of your neighbors. They may corrupt your children. You can say, inshallah, mashallah, I'm strong, my iman is this, is that. What about your children who are vulnerable? What about your wife? You cannot always be with them. They are learning from your neighbors. You may not know what they have learned. They may become something else. There are many places wherever that you need to move away. Even you may need to quit your job completely and look for another one just because of these children. Just because of these children, you may have to do hijrah with them because their future is very important. What about if you have amassed wealth, you have made a lot of wealth, a lot of fame from your work, but your children, you don't find comfort, don't find happiness in them? What have you achieved? What have you achieved? Your wealth will be inherited by those who never labored for it. So we mentioned several examples last week. So please, this is very important. You need to cooperate with members of your community on how to raise your children. If there is no masjid, how do you have a masjid? And if there is a masjid, You need a madrasa as well. If you want to employ a teacher and a imam for the masjid, you come together, look for someone who will be useful. The masjid is meant to be an educational facility as well. So you look for someone who is really competent, who can be teaching you adults and teach the children as well. So when they go to school, they come back in the evenings or weekends, they also have Quranic education that they obtain. You need it in the society because most schools do not offer this. So you have to improvise, you have to do something about this. And this is very important at this time. We should try to make sure that our children, they memorize the Quran. If not the entire Quran, but much part of the Quran. Our female children as well, they should not memorize less than 2 GC of the Quran. They should all be able to read the Quran with tajweed because they are closer. Women are closer to children. That's why they say mother's language. Not that father doesn't speak language, but because children are closer to the mother. So tajweed, we should all be able to read it. Our children must be able to read the Quran with tajweed. A significant number of them should memorize the whole of the Quran. Why? This time we need to get our children busy because of the internet. That should be something that should keep them busy. Alhamdulillah, some of us that Allah has blessed with memorization of the Quran, even though you have intention to do certain things, you have wish to do certain things, you don't want to forget this Quran. You need to read. You may not need less than 2 GC every day. You have to wake up for tahajjud because that's the best time to enjoy reading Quran. In fact, that's one of the sweetest things in dunya is to stand up at night reciting the Quran in your tahajjud, and you also understand what you recite. Subhanallah, is one of the sweetest things in this world. You need something to keep the children busy. So, and Quran is one of the best things you can give them. It's the best thing, one of the best things you can give them. And alhamdulillah, today for what we have today, a lot of people have realized this. Their children, after primary schools, they take them to where they can learn the Quran. You should not also be behind. Try to do something. You need to produce scholars because society is growing larger, and the supply of scholar is not like the demand. The demand for scholarship is much more than the supply. Produce scholars from your loin as well, from your children. It's a great legacy that you can leave for this ummah. So let's cooperate with one another. Employ the service of Malam who can teach your children Islamic malams, Islamic adab, and also teach them the Quran, the Sunnah. Someone who is of Ahlul Sunnah should be employed, but be careful. Be careful. There are some people who come with different ideologies. Some people who are calling others to come and join a particular sheikh. Some people who are condemning others. This one is this one is that, this one is this. Be careful of them. Don't let your children become terrorists or they become fanatics. Don't let them become fanatics. Follow those who emphasize Islam. Islam. Those who emphasize it on the basis of knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not those who are trying to create another fashion, they're calling it a name that is not even traceable to the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Be on your guard. May Allah bless us and guide us right. And they should not be stingy to these malams. They are very, very instrumental in the society. They are the ones preserving Islam in the grassroots. So you have to, as the parents, you come together. How much do we pay for these malams teaching our children? You know how much you pay as school fees. Don't be unjust to yourselves because that is what some parents are. You are so unjust to yourselves because you don't want to take good care of these malams. And they are doing excellent, great jobs. They are doing great jobs. Your children, your parents can only give birth to you into this dunya. But this good who can take you to Jannah is the guidance of these scholars. This is why we need to respect them and take care of them. Another thing, and the final one here is, before the last, is to get these children married. You have to get them married. This is why Quran emphasizes these points. Quran chapter 24, Surah An-Nur, verse 31, 32, 33. 32 and 33 especially. Allah says, وَأَنْكِهُ الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ. أَنْكِهُ الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. Singles amongst you, please marry them. Find spouses for them or you support them financially to get married. This is why when you are giving zakat, you can give zakat to a poor person who is in need of wife. He has gotten a wife, he doesn't have money to pay the dowry, for example, or to get an accommodation. You can use zakat to support such a person as long as he has some work he can do to take care of the family. We need to marry them. It's one of the things we need to pay attention to because You have done everything for your children. You raise them well. You raise them well, and you have spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources on them. Then they get married to a wrong person. All your efforts will be rubbished. All your efforts will be rubbished. This is why, until you ensure that your child is married to a responsible person, you must not stop. Please, you must not stop. This is what that man did in Surah Al-Qasas with Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. He noticed that Musa is fit to be a husband for his daughter. So he told Musa. Musa was not the one who proposed to marry. He knew, perhaps he knew that he may have interest in them. He told them, and one of the daughters also mentioned it. He told Musa, would you like to marry one of my daughters? But you have to be with me for 10 years at least, a decade. Would you? You can do the same thing. You can arrange marriages for your children. So family, friends, you try to look at this daughter of my friend. I think she'll be a good wife for my son. So you may tell your friend, when they attain the age of marriage, you let them know you consider this. Do they like it? They must consent. That's it. In Islam, you don't force anyone to marry someone he doesn't like. They must consent. So you tell your son, don't you like the daughter of a minister? Why are you going to approach him? She's a good lady. Something like this. We may need to help them, not telling them, oh yeah, you have to help them. Prophets, Umar ibn Khattab, when his daughter Hafsa lost her husband during the battle of Uhud, when the woman completed her iddah, Umar ibn Khattab went to Abu Bakr. Would you like to marry my daughter Hafsa? He went to Uthman. Would you like to marry my daughter Hafsa? So both of them were not interested. Abu Bakr was not interested because of something. So later Umar gets to know what it was. The Prophet ﷺ had mentioned Hafsa for Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, Hafsa is a good, I would like to marry Hafsa. So Abu Bakr did not know whether the Prophet would go ahead or not. So later, Abu Bakr now told Umar, when you told me about your daughter, no, I'm sorry if you feel you felt offended that I didn't give you any response. It's because the Prophet had mentioned Hafsa. If the Prophet did not marry her, I would have married her. So the Prophet ﷺ eventually married Hafsa. But look at what the efforts of Umar ibn Khattab. He went to Abu Bakr, he went to Uthman. So it's something you can do too. You may not do it directly so that a man will not say, after all, I was not interested in you. It was your father who forced you on me. No. There are some righteous people, if you tell them this, they will never do that to their children, to your daughters. So you need to help them. And when they are 18 and above, when your daughter tells you she's ready for marriage, please don't condemn her. She's telling you she wants to preserve her chastity. She's telling you she's a righteous daughter of a righteous man. If you are, you have to help them. You have to help. Don't tell you must finish your school, you have to do this, you have your master's before you do this. If they are committing sins, fornication, just because of your denial, you will share from the sins. You have to help them. Do you have someone? I have someone. Okay, bring the person. If the person is not fit, we try to see how you can engage your children, dialogue with your daughter. No, this is not the right person for you. If the person is fit, but the person is not capable, you may advise them, okay, let's do it this way. I've accepted, inshallah, this, but let's give like a year so that this one can finish at university, or you two can finish something like, talk with them, communicate. You don't impose on them. So another thing is, if you want your daughter to marry anyone, don't consider someone that is ready-made. You don't always find them. You see many women today, you know about the issue of husband scarcity. You know that if you look for prospects in a man, and this person is responsible, is religiously upright, is morally sound, he has a good background, and is brilliant, for example, he has good results. All you should do is find him a job. Another thing you can do is establish him. What can he do? Establish a business, establish him. You may not let your daughter know you established it, or you establish both of them. This is something you can do. Quran encourages us to do this. So don't say that, no, your husband you want to marry, this guy who doesn't have any job. But the person, look at the personality of the person. That's very important. Look for prospect in the man. So let the daughter marry such a person. So it has to, let them start small and grow big, instead of looking for someone who is big, who may even bring your daughter small. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us right on this. And there is another thing that we have to pay attention to, and that is the issue of parents themselves. In Islam, there is nothing bad in determining the size of your family, the spacing your children as a parent because of your own health. You need your own health too, so that you'll be able to raise these children. You need the health of the mother so that you'll be able to take proper care of the children. And as a man too, don't exhaust all your energy, everything on working. If you Allah has blessed us to some extent, you may need some more time, some time with your family. Some more time with your family is better than more time at work for more pay. Allah has blessed you. Spend time with them and also do everything that will help you to live long. So because you don't know what the future holds. So, and it's good if you can marry early so that you can grow with these children, you grow together. They can learn from you. You can always be part of their life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with us. No problem with family planning, as long as you don't do something that's injurious to the woman. So, but to determine the number of children you want to have, considering the indices, the socio-economic indices, there's nothing bad with that. The Prophet ﷺ had encouraged us to have many children so that you'll be proud of us on the day of resurrection. But you know, the Prophet will not be proud with hooligans. He will not be proud with hooligans. Educated, well-raised people. We need to pay attention to this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and bless our homes. May Allah guide us right. So this is where we stop today, inshallah, on discussion of on parenthood from Islamic perspective. Inshallah, next week, we will look at the wasiyah of Luqman to his children, to his son, his wasiyah, the advice of Luqman to his son that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so much that he has recorded for us in the Quran. Let's treat it together. These points, I want to bring them and summarize them so that we can have them written somewhere, and have our children memorize them so that we can live by them, and our children also will live by those principles. May Allah guide us aright. Barakallahu fina wa fikum. Subhanakallahumma rabbana bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. The questions we have here, the first one says, please, I once came across it that it is not compulsory to shave hair of female newborn. I don't know if this opinion is correct. Yes, it's correct. So scholars have two opinions about shaving the hair of a female newborn. So some of them say that, but they are in minority though. They are in minority. That it's not compulsory to shave the hair because in Islam, it's discouraged that a woman should shave her hair. But many scholars, majority of them, they say no, this is not applicable to a newborn. A newborn, whether a male or a female, so you shave their hairs. But anyone who says that, because some scholars have said that the hair of a female newborn may not be shaved, and they want to go by that, he has not committed any wrong. But the best position is to ensure that we shave the hairs of the newborn, whether a male or a female. I read this that once a child reaches age of 7, the nakedness becomes sacred. Even the same gender exposure should be prohibited in the bathing together, bathing by the parents. Yes, our children, the Prophet ﷺ has given us certain instructions about them. When they are 7, he used to say when they are 7, you have to instruct your children to pray. When they are 10, you can beat them lightly if they refuse to pray. So, and at 10, you have to separate them in beds. They should not be sleeping together. They should not be bathing together. They should not be seeing each other's nakedness at this age, from the age of 7. From the age of 7, don't let them be seeing each other's nakedness. And even the parents too, let them know this by private parts. You can only see it when there is a reason for it. Without any reason, let them respect their privacy. When they want to bathe, don't say, so that they can respect this privacy and they can protect their nakedness as well. They will not be shameless, as we have seen some shameless men and women all around today. So, and when they are sleeping as well, you have to separate them in the beds. And also, this reminds me when I mentioned where the Prophet ﷺ said, we can eat our children, beat them lightly. So when they do anything that is wrong, we can beat them. So we should not overindulge our children. Some of us are out of love. We are overindulging them. This makes these children to become irresponsible at all. They can't do anything. They can't do anything. They don't even respect elders. They don't know how to respect us. So we have to, maybe it's part of what we are going to discuss next week, inshallah, when we are treating the wasiyah of Luqman to his son. So we go to that place, to that issue, inshallah. Will you please post the Quranic verses refers to during the lecture? Okay, so we hope someone will do that. Quran 24, verse 74. Quran 37, verse 100. Quran 27 as well. Quran 37, verse 100. Quran 27, verse 169. Ameen. The dua mentioned via the email. Okay, so my email is Ridone, Ridwan, Ridwan, Ridwan1424@gmail.com. So you can ask this question there. Inshallah, I will send the dua to you. Can a lady pray in her home with only a jilbab that covers everywhere, including the feet, and listen to parents with no undergarments? Yes, a woman can pray with any clothes, jilbab that covers all parts of her body. So even though she's not putting on any garments underneath. Can the morning and evening adhkar be done before observing both the Fajr and Asr prayers? I mean, the time for both prayers have arrived, but one has not yet said the prayers for reasons such as being in transit or even waiting for Jama'ah. Yes, when it is time for Fajr prayer, and for one reason or the other you have not been able to observe it, you can do your adhkar sabah, the morning adhkar at that time. The same thing applies to Asr. Will the Lekki Central Mosque be opening to congregants according to the government lockdown easement? No, the agreement, the consensus of Muslim leaders, so a few days ago, is that considering the situation of things, so we should not open the masajid now. So we are not, the masajid remain shut until further notice. What's the Islamic stand on next of kin, and who should be the next of kin? The next of kin are those that we cannot permanently marry in our relations, amongst our relations. So like our children, our nephews, our nieces, they are our next of kin. Our uncles, our aunts, we can't marry them permanently, so they are our next of kin. Cousins in Islam can marry each other. It's allowed in Islam for cousins to marry, even though in Yoruba culture, for example, it's not it's considered as a taboo, but Islamically, there's nothing wrong with that. Can we stop nafila for our husband too, just like we do for our mothers? Can we stop nafila for our husband too, just like we do for our mothers? I'm sorry, I don't understand this. Finally, at the beginning of ablution, we say Bismillah or Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's correct. Just Bismillah. Bismillah. So we are going to stop here today. Okay, let me quickly take this one too. You talked about Akeko, and you said we can pronounce our child's name the second day after birth. Does that mean slaughtering of ram is not compulsory if you don't wish? The slaughtering of ram is not compulsory, but it's highly recommended. We should not leave it. 2 animals, 2 goats or 2 rams for a male child and 1 for a female child. We should not leave it. The Prophet ﷺ said it's a pledge that every parent must fulfill for their newborn. We should not leave it for even if you are economically handicapped. We should delay it and do it later. But the naming can be the day we give birth to our child. We give the name, but the slaughtering of the animal should be on the 7th day. So that is what I said. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحانك اللهم ربنا بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Don't forget to join us next week at the same time, inshallah, and inform others. Barakallahu fikum wa fina. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لولا أنزل عليه آية من ربه فقل إنما الغيب لله